Massmart Chief Executive Grant Pattison has resigned after 7 years as CEO and much longer with the company. Joins us now on the line. Well, Grant, hey man, you were looking a little bit pressurized last time we saw each other, and now we hear that you've decided to go and take it easy. Was it your choice or theirs?
A couple of things. I haven't decided to go take it easy. We're really just changing jobs, so I'll be looking for a new opportunity in a leadership position in a different industry. And then, yes, it's a completely selfish decision. I wanted to, try something new.
But Grant, you've only really ushered in the Walmart guys. We do know the American bosses are tough. We also know your share price is down a third in the past year. Was there pressure from them?
Not at all. Walmart and I have a very good relationship, and they were certainly encouraging me to stay.
So what next? When you say you want to move to another industry, you've grown up in this sector virtually, run a massive company for the last 7 years. What makes you feel that you could switch now?
Well, this is my second industry. I started off in mining. I'm actually an engineer by training. So I did 6 years in the mining. And then you're right, I've devoted a good portion of my life to the retail industry, and I'm feeling like I've had an impact there, and had the privilege to lead a great company there. If I'm going to work anywhere in the retail industry, it would be at Massmart. So, I'm 43. I think I've got enough years in me for another chance at this, so I think I'll give it a go. Step into the void, as you might say.
Grant, at the age of 43, you are considerably young. You've done mining, you've done retail. Which new sector are you looking to enter into?
I have no idea. I've done nothing but think about Massmart and retail for the last 16 or 17 years. My next focus will be to ensure a smooth and effective handover to Guy Hayward, the new CEO, and then I'll allow myself to spend some time thinking about that as I finish up tidying up my office for the rest of the year.
Simultaneous with the resignation of your mentor, Mark Lamberti.
Yes, unfortunate that. I think both him and I would have preferred to have the timing separated. But, the events happened. He had an opportunity elsewhere, and I understand that he wanted to take that up. Absolutely understand it, and our desire would have been to separate it more.
Imperial is a different industry. Will you be joining Mark again over there?
No, I won't be joining Imperial. No.
So you're 43. Goodness, I thought you were a little older than that, Grant. Are you now going to take a little bit of a sabbatical at least, and maybe catch your breath first before doing anything else?
No need for a sabbatical. I'm in good shape. We live balanced lives at Massmart. So no need for a break. I really want to focus on making sure the transition's right, and then I'll immediately start looking for a new opportunity.
Grant, the share price performance of Massmart in the last year has been rather modest. Are you happy with the value that you've managed to create at the company?
Yeah, certainly. If you go back, and do that sort of analysis from when I joined, I'm comfortable with all the metrics. Perhaps profits underperformed a bit, which I must take responsibility for. But overall, I'm happy with what I did with the company. From the outside, it's tempting to just measure the financial metrics. But, I think the relationship and the impact you can have on a company is much deeper than that. And, I'll let history judge how I did.
And you did tell us during the transition from the previous owners or independents to ownership by the Americans, that what you learned from the Americans suggested that we were a long way behind in South Africa. How far have you been able to catch up at Massmart since doing that deal?
Yeah, in that respect, I'm actually quite pleased with what we've done. We're almost there on e-commerce. I think Massmart sells more items online than any other retailer in South Africa between Dion White and Macro. So I think we've caught up some there. I think before the end of the year, we'll do more catching up. The supply chain, I think we've got the world-class DCs now and world-class these systems that run DCs. I think where we've still got a lot to catch up is on extracting productivity out of the business, about the returns per square meter, returns per labor. That's where we're far behind, and I think you're going to see coming out of Guy a focus on those operational metrics and performance going forward.
Are you going to hold on to your Massmart shares?
I'm definitely holding on to Massmart shares for the rest of the year, yes.
For the rest of the year? Because they've come a long way. I mean, down from $200 a share, 134 at the moment. Would you see them as a as an extreme value opportunity at the moment, or was that run up to 200 perhaps just part of the whole retail bubble?
Well, my Massmart shares are a bit more emotional than that, so I'll have to get rid of some as part of the Massmart share scheme as I exit at the end of the year. But my attachment to them is emotional. I have a huge faith in the company going forward, and so will most likely remain a long-term shareholder.
This has been a shock to us, and I think a shock to the market generally, the share price of Massmart declining as a result of the announcement. Was it a shock to the board of Massmart and to employees?
I can't say whether it's a shock to our employees. No, I don't think it is a shock to the Massmart board. I think that they know me well, and they know for me doing the same job for 7 years is a stretch.
Grant, your thoughts on your successor?
Huge confidence. Guy has been with the business almost as long as I have. He's been the CFO, he's been the COO. So, I think another good example of how succession should be worked. He has the support of the board, and I know the support of all the other shareholders and the management team. So, I think overall another example of great succession planning.
Well, best of luck, Grant. I'm sure we'll see you here in a different guise in future. That was the outgoing Chief Executive of Massmart.